Greetings everyone. I want to make a video about something. I don't really know what my main point is going to be, so I'm just going to start. Maybe you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this, because I just watched this movie, Total Recall, the new one from 2012, and it got me thinking about stuff. It reminded me of something from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. At the end of the movie, Charlie and Willy Wonka are flying off in the elevator. This is the original one. And he says, Charlie, don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted. And Charlie says, what happened? He says, he lived happily ever after. I was thinking about rich people. Rich people don't really seem happy. When they have everything you want, and you have everything you want, it seems like everything's too easy. There's no challenge. And I'm going to relate this to DayZ hackers also, by the way. But, and then the end credit on Willy Wonka starts playing, and the lyrics go, if you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do, do it. Want to make the world, there's nothing to it. Make the world. That's a lot like, Minecraft, creating the world you want to exist in. Then he says, there is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. That has to be video games, right? Or writing books, watching movies. Creating the culture that we live in is all about entertainment, like movies, books, TV, music. All of this stuff is really what you want to be happy, right? And since becoming an atheist, you kind of realize that you only have one life to live. So if you want to get the most out of life, my philosophy has always been to get the most entertainment. Spend the most of your time getting books, movies, music, TV, enjoying as much of the culture as you can, right? So, I get a crappy job where I don't make a lot of money, even though I'm overqualified. I'm smarter than a lot of the people that make the amount of money that I make. But I have so much free time to spend on the culture that I think it's the best strategy. I've told you guys this before. You're familiar with my my life philosophy pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. So, I was watching this Total Recall movie, and in Total Recall, they have this thing where you can implant your own memories, like, even if you're a working class assembly line worker and you don't make any money, you can still afford to have this memory implant done. It's pretty much, I guess, the same price as having internet connection or whatever it would be today. So you can make this memory in your head where you can be a spy or a famous person or a super athlete or whatever, or just whatever kind of fantasy you have, you can make it a reality in your memories, which isn't really real, but there is no life I know to compare with pure imagination, right? So, the problem was that the rich people are oppressing the poor people. Is it because the poor people have figured out a way to, they've evened the playing field with this imagination kind of virtual reality thing where they can have anything they want, and the rich people are jealous that they're not really, it's not an advantage to be rich anymore? And then the rich people seem to want to be, they want to kind of play God, I guess, so they want to kind of be able to do anything they want. I don't really think that's going to satisfy anybody in the end, but that's what the basic movie comes down to. They're trying to, well, I guess the movie's actually about they run out of living space and they're trying to, destroy the poor people so they can just use robots for workers and then have more room for the rich people. And I've been watching One Piece anime lately, too, and I've also just passed episode 500, and that's where, the main characters, they're in this little island where everybody's super rich, and there's this nobility, all the nobles live in one part of town, and all the poor people live in another part of town, and they decide that since the emperors are coming to visit, they're going to just burn the whole smaller village where all the poor people live, and all the rich people just are nonchalant about it, fuck them, just burn them, kill everybody. It's just embarrassing to have all these poor people around. Let's just burn them, and nobody even cares. And it's it really all kind of relates to this idea of rich people just oppressing the weak. You always have these themes where you have the rebels that are trying to resist, and the oppressors, the rich people, are trying to get everybody to submit. It's all submit or resist. So then, if you play DayZ, DayZ's a hard game. It's like you rise up to these levels of where you've achieved stuff, and then it's all gone in an instant because somebody. Most of the time, you don't get killed legitimately by people who are also working their ass off to be good at the game. There's some asshole from the Netherlands or some country in Europe where super rich people get, I don't know how they get rich in these European countries, but it seems like they're very wealthy, and they get a lot of money and they do whatever they want. and usually get killed by a hacker once you've spent 4 or 5 hours. Like this happened to me last week. I spent 4 or 5 hours fixing up a vehicle, getting all the best guns from all these chopper loots. It was like 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden the hacker just teleported my vehicle away as we were flying down a hill. So I just like broke all my legs and just died from not having a vehicle all of a sudden. I was ragdolled down a fucking hill. That really pissed me off, and I started like giving him death threats and shit because I was really pissed off. And I started Googling his name, and I found he's on all these hacker forums where there's all these forums where people sign up to cheat at games. And they're so nice and polite on these forums. It doesn't really make sense with what they're doing. They're trying to piss people off and make everybody have a bad day. A lot of people will say there are good hackers too. They'll just give you stuff. But to me, that's just as bad, because why do you want everything in life given to you? It makes everything boring. There's no challenge. It's like the whole point of the game is ruined. If everybody has everything, then what the fuck is the point? There's no challenge to anything. That's almost as far as I've gone with this whole thing. I'm trying to figure out a solution. How do you fix a problem like this? And to me, it seems like the best way to do it is to prevent people from inheriting wealth. Because if you have rich people that are just born into it, like if you are a billionaire and you have kids, and you're not only going to spend like a few million probably in your life, and you give the rest of the billions to your kids, and then they have billions for no reason. They've never worked for anything in their life. They haven't earned it. And it just goes on for hundreds of years with these people that are just worthless people. Trash. Human trash. But they have all the money in the world. So if you prevent inheriting fortunes, money, and once you die, your money gets spread back out into everybody else somehow, some way. That seems to be a way to fix the problem. Of course, people call it communism, socialism, whatever, but look at the capitalism we're in right now. We're in a fucking mess. We've used up all the oil resources in the world in the last 100 years, and we act like there's just going to be oil forever. We're just going to keep driving cars for hundreds of years. It's not going to happen. We're going to be back to like riding horses again pretty soon, unless we figure out some kind of electrical alternative, and then we have to live off the sun somehow. And there's going to be magnetic fields where everybody's going to get cancer. How else are we going to travel around? Unless we figure out some kind of cold fusion or negative space kind of Stargate type shit. We're fucked. So when I think about like piracy, like copyright infringement, piracy kind of stuff, I really have no problem with it, because if you only live a short amount of time, you want to get the most out of it. You want to spend your life getting as much of the culture into you as you can. So I don't really see a problem with getting all the movies and music and whatever you want. Like, read as many books as you can, do whatever you can to fucking live the best life possible. If people get screwed out of money for it, that's too bad. But does that lead to the crappy, like, reality TV we have nowadays, where thoughtful TV shows that are well written, the people aren't making enough money to justify spending time on it, so they just like give up and people just make reality TV? And the shitty ass music we have nowadays, because nobody makes money actually writing and creating good music anymore. I don't know. I figured if I was talented at something, I would just do it because I wanted to do it, not because I'm trying to make a buck. Eventually, you kind of want to capitalize on it, I guess, but you should make money if you're doing something good anyway, not because you're trying to do it just to make money, I guess. But did I talk about Glenn Beck yet? Glenn Beck had this thing recently. This is what it looked like. It was a fucking crazy chalkboard he came up with. And he thinks education is infecting the culture because bad education leads to bad people creating things and dumb people making books and movies and art and TV and everything. And he relates it all back to their failings and why the education's failing and people are failing. And I don't know. He doesn't really know what he's thinking about either. He just knows he's onto something. He doesn't know how to fix it yet. Oh, my other point. I've been thinking about moral relativism lately, and I kind of thought about calling it the Atheist Experience to talk about it with Matt Dillahunty, because I know he doesn't believe in moral relativism, which is like anything can be viewed as good or bad in the right situation. Because he's always said, like, there's no such thing as a good reason for slavery or a good reason for rape or murder or genocide, let's say. I actually thought of some ways that all four of those things could be viewed as a good thing to murder, rape, genocide, and slavery, for all those things to happen. And you really have to think outside the box for it. But it's pretty simple. For murder, if you're locked in a cage and somebody's outside of the cage and they say, if you don't kill this person in the cage with you, then I'm going to kill 2 people on the outside of the cage. Or more. Hundreds of people, thousands of people. If you don't kill this guy, I'm going to kill more people. And all of your options are taken away except either kill the guy or not. So if you don't kill the guy, more people are going to die. So it basically reduces it down to a math problem. So it's a good thing to kill this one person to save more than one person. That's how that would make killing moral. Or just say, like, you see somebody killing a bunch of people in a town and you're a sniper and you can prevent it. So you snipe the guy that's murdering everybody and you save lives by killing someone. Pretty easy to see that killing can be moral at some time. But then, what about genocide? And this one isn't really a realistic way for it to happen, but it makes it possible. Because if you think about, like, the butterfly effect, and if you kill someone today, and he would have had family later on, and their families would have had families, and he would have progressed throughout time, then killing someone at a different point in time is going to affect this whole butterfly effect thing, right? If you could see through the fourth dimension of time, you see these total effects of what you do. Possibly, committing genocide against a group of people could have a positive outcome in the end. Like if you could see both branches of the timeline of not killing a bunch of people or killing a bunch of people, and killing a bunch of people turns out to be better in the end, that would make it moral, right? Let's say, for example, Hitler, if he had won the war and the whole world except for blonde Anglo-Saxon Germans were left in the world, and they started repopulating the whole world. Everybody looks the same. Everybody's blonde. Everybody's white. There's no more racism. Everybody's united. Nobody hates each other anymore. We get into space. We start space travel. We populate other planets. Humanity just runs all over the cosmos. That could have been a possibility if Hitler had been successful. Probably not. I don't know. I'm just saying. If you could see through the fourth dimension of time, in that case, genocide appears to be a moral thing. Now, rape. How could rape be considered a good thing? Two ways. If you and a woman, I'm assuming you're a man, because you watch my videos and I don't really have a lot of female followers. If you and a woman are the last people on Earth, and she doesn't want to have sex with you, and the only way for humanity to live on is for you to rape this woman, it seems like rape then would be a good thing, because it's the only way for humanity to survive. If you have to rape someone to keep the human race alive, that seems like it would make it moral. You could also make it a little bit more questionable if you're on like a colony on another planet or the moon or something. Like, you need other people there to build society, and the women don't want to have sex, but you're going to need to have children to raise up, or you're all going to die eventually. You're going to die out because there's not enough time for new colonists to arrive. You're so far away. Humanity would still live on, but your temporary colony on a moon or a planet or wherever is going to die off if you don't get some more people going, and you got to get like the genetics more diverse. So you got to have more kids. It just has to happen. And none of the women want to have sex with anybody. They're just total asexual people for some reason. In that case, it seems like rape would be the moral thing to do. Sounds bad. Raping somebody, committing genocide, murdering somebody, all sound horrible things. It just sounds horrible, but in that situation, it seems like it's the only option that would make it moral, in my opinion. Now, slavery. This one was a hard one. How is it moral to have slaves? And this brings me back to my whole point about the rich and the poor and having everything. It means you don't have any more challenge, and there's like... So I thought about, what about if you have a planet of people? This would be like separate from us because we've already evolved the way we've evolved. But say you had some people that evolved, maybe in the far future, maybe it's a human colony planet somewhere. And this planet is like a paradise. There's like... Food just grows on the trees naturally. You don't have to plant food. You don't have to harvest food. Just pick it up off the ground and eat it whenever you want. Food is abundant. Housing is just like... The trees grow like at the bottom. It's like a shelter. People just like live in those. It's so easy. You don't have to build anything. You don't have to construct anything. There's no jobs because nobody has to work for their food. You just go out and pick it. It's just so abundant. So there's no need for travel or commerce, or there's no currency. There's no economy because everything's free. So people just make up art and culture and stuff. And the whole place is ruled as a monarchy. There's a king that just says, everybody do what you want, and everybody does what they want. It's perfect paradise, right? The problem is it kind of becomes like that movie Idiocracy, where everybody gets really stupid because they don't have any schools, because you have to pay people to be teachers. You have to pay people to build the schools. But you don't have any economy. There's no money. There's no reason to trade. There's no reason to have payments or work or anything. So in that case, you enslave some people. The king decides, I'm going to enslave a few people. I'm going to make them build some schools. I'm going to make them write down things that we know so that we can teach the generations that comes. We're going to be a little bit smarter and we're not complete idiots. It seems alright to me. Then you can have slaves then. If everything else is just peachy keen, there's just food everywhere and everybody's fine, enslave some people. You're not going to pay them. They're going to work for nothing as slaves to build schools and be less stupid. Yay, slavery, in my opinion. So that's the four ways I can pretty much prove moral relativism works. I kind of had a hard time coming up with the way good things can be considered bad, like sacrificing yourself, like jumping in front of a car to save somebody else's life, just complete altruism. Because again, if you look through the fourth dimension, if you saw, like, if you saved somebody's life, maybe down the road, 100 years from now, it would have, like, caused some kind of ripple effect where it had a negative effect. Maybe your life was more important, actually, that your descendants would have done great things, but you sacrificed yourself and got hit by a car, so now you fucked up that whole timeline. So it pretty much works no matter what you do. I think moral relativism works. I think we need to stop rich people from giving their wealth down to their useless, worthless kids. Unless you can force a way to make their kids not worthless, like make them work their ass off if you have a certain amount of money. I don't know how you would do it, but pretty much that's the 3 points I want to make. That, and then if you're poor, then I see no reason why you should not have as much culture in your life as you could possibly attain. And stop hacking DayZ. God damn it. This guy, I don't know if I told you this story already, but me and Austin were playing. And I found this random stranger. I was running along with him, and he starts talking to me, and I say, I'm going to meet my friend. He's like, is his name Austin or whatever? That's not his real username, but I said, yeah. And I'm like, how'd you know that? And he just teleports me and him to Austin. And there's 3 of us there and a rabbit. And the rabbit is another player that's like this grandmaster hacker that's teaching him how to hack. And he's just, I can tell he's from some European country by his accent, and he's rich as fuck. And he doesn't know what he's doing. He has a crossbow that rapid fires like a machine gun, crossbow arrows, and I start making fun of him, telling him what I basically just said in this video, that it's pointless to hack because you're taking away the challenge and it's just useless. If you don't have any skills in the game, you just give up. And it's just like those people who used to play World of Warcraft and they would buy level 60 accounts or 70 accounts. Somebody made a parody video once where they bought a level 60 mage and they ran around in Goldshire or whatever and didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know, like, if cows were enemies or people that were like level 1 were scaring the crap out of them. They're level 60. That's what it's like. If you just pay to have everything in the world right off the start, then why are you even bothering? Why don't you just pay somebody to play the game for you, or pay somebody to live your life for you? And then I thought, what about, oh shit, what if that's what God is? What if God was one of us and he got so fucking rich that he decided to make his own world and just let other people live it for him, and he just sits there and doesn't do anything? But that's ridiculous. There's no such thing as God. What are we talking about? But that's the way it goes. The one guy, the other hacker I was talking about, that I googled, he was on a forum talking about how he paid to buy, like, what was it, 50 or 150 CD keys for Arma 2, because once you hack, you get caught and they ban your account and you have to make a new character, I guess, over and over again. And I guess he bought them for like $3 each, some Game Shark or something. They were on sale. So that's like $150. Yeah, I think it was 50 CD keys, so it was $150 just to be able to hack a game and just dominate people because you're cheating. And that's just Arma 2. There's all these whole lists of games that these forums have that people cheat on. Like, that is just the biggest fail in the world. If you can't get good at a game, you just buy your way out of it, or buy your way high enough where you can dominate people and do whatever you want with a click of a button. I mean, that's the biggest pussy move I've ever heard of. But that's what I guess rich people do too. Like somebody, they pay somebody to have them assassinated, or who knows what they get away with. Fucking rich people. I'm just glad I'm not rich.